Welcome to Stepping Out from the Top Team. I'm Oliver Johnston. I'm delighted today to have Caroline Duffy with us. Caroline is first of all a very old friend. She's a sweet executive and team coach. She's just started anthology retreats and she's an accredited Stepping Out coach. Caroline, our topic today is team psychological safety. Obviously, we're considering it in the context of people who are on the top team and thinking and planning to leave the top team, and how does team psychological safety play in that context. So really there are three questions. The first one is, what is it? The second one is, why is it important? And the third one is, how do you create it? So start with the first one, which seems like a good place to start. What is team psychological safety?
And thanks, Oliver. It's great to be here and to have this conversation, such a topical issue. So team psychological safety, or TPS, has been around since probably the late 1990s. So just over 20 years now at this point. And there's a number of writers and researchers on it, but one of the best known is a woman called Amy Edmondson from Harvard. And she calls it and defines it as a shared belief that a team is safe for interpersonal risk taking. So what that, essentially means when you kind of distill it down, Oliver, is that a team members are able to have good quality dialogue where they're able to raise issues, where they feel supported, where they don't feel like mistakes they make are held against them, and where a range of different perspectives and diversity are welcomed and really included on the team. So those are some of those key elements. And when all of that is present, what it allows a team to do is to talk about the unmentionables or the undiscussables in a team. It allows the team to raise an issue, to talk it through, to listen, and to work together to create new generative solutions to big challenges that a team faces.
Caroline, thank you for that. And I know that in our work on stepping out, it's often referred to as an unmentionable.
Yeah.
So the notion of team psychological safety, to make it a safe place to mention it, seems to be particularly relevant. And so why is it important?
I suppose it's important to say, first of all, that team psychological safety is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. So it's about getting safety in place to create the conditions that a team can really perform. And the thinking is that if we have psychological safety, the flow in a team is better. They can talk about those undiscussables or unmentionables because the team is able to learn together. It's able to talk through, to think together at the quality and to learn together. And through that, performance comes. So challenges like collaboration, decision making, problem solving all flow a lot better when the team's able to think and learn together. And when you think of it in the context of stepping out, what I've noticed in teams, in executive teams particularly, where a member or more than one member plan to step out, to exit and transition to the next stage of their career, is that a couple of things can happen. Either they don't talk about it, and people wonder a lot because they wonder that that person is, at a certain stage in their career and maybe they're going to be thinking about it. So energy can start to go in to wondering about it, but nobody actually talks about it. Or if it is brought out into the open and it's quite overt in terms of somebody is going to exit, a lot of energy likewise can go into wondering what is going to happen. It can bring out a competition in the team in terms of what will happen when that person exits. It can bring a lot of emotions because people will feel a loss at somebody going, and there can also be a lot of uncertainty and concern about the knowledge and experience that may exit the organization when that person goes. But often we don't talk about any of that openly. What we see in executive teams is that there's a lot that sits beneath the surface around this idea of transitioning or stepping out, with a lot of wondering and what becomes quite subversive behaviors that people manage and navigate, and a lot of whisper conversations around it. And what we know and what I've seen with teams that develop their psychological safety across team members is that they're able to have the conversations. They're able to talk about what this is going to mean if and when one or two or more people exit the organization. They're able to talk quite openly about the sense of loss members may be feeling. They're able to talk openly about the concern or the worry about the exit of knowledge and experience from the team. And they're able then to move forward to creative ideas. How will we manage that? How do we support each other through this transition as we lose this valued member of our team? How do we support and celebrate them? And how do we work to kind of glean that knowledge from them, ensure there's great succession so that as they leave elegantly and gracefully, there's a great sense of achievement and completion across the team as a whole.
Caroline, that's really interesting. Thank you. And I know one of the things again in the people that I coach, they often say they don't know how to leave well. Partly because it is an unmentionable, so therefore they don't hear the people who've gone before them and have left before them and be able to learn from that. So it blocks that sense of just learning from other people's experiences. So look, I'm sure if I was a member of a team and we had 2 days to be facilitated in this by you, there is a lot we could go into and fill 2 days and plenty more. But in the few minutes that we have, what are the key things about how this is created?
I think that the first thing that the thought that was prompted by something you said there, Oliver, was that um, team psychological safety is built because it is a shared belief. It's something that's created by the team as a whole. So whilst the leader always plays a role, so the chief exec in a executive team always obviously plays a role in creating culture across the team. The thing that I love about team psychological safety is that it's about shared responsibility. Everybody in the team has to take responsibility for creating the psychological safety. So it's not one or two people. So it's something that a team can start to look at and have open conversations around. How well do we raise issues? How do we manage when we make mistakes? Do we hold it against people, or what happens? How do we welcome diversity of thought? Do we critique it to death, or do we shut it down if somebody comes in with a different idea? And do we let each other know about the different strengths and talents and contributions we see each other bringing into this team, and that we really welcome and enjoy and appreciate within the team? So part of it is about opening up the conversation about what it is and where are we and how do we create it. And there's practical things that teams can do, like creating a contract or a charter. How will we work together? How will we be with each other to create psychological safety, to sustain it? What will we do when we hit conflict? What will we do when we have a disagreement? How will we manage all of that? So it's really about articulating and setting out almost a protocol around how we're going to manage different things within this team. And something that feels really fundamentally important as well, and I see this a lot with teams that I'm working with at the moment, is that when they come together, they update each other a lot. And one of the biggest shifts I've seen in teams is when they change that agenda to focus on creating safety so that they can truly think together. We live in a really chaotic world at the moment. So if an exec team has time to think together, to talk about big issues like an exit that's coming up in the next 12 months and how they manage it, then what happens is they can do that really skillfully and work together to make that a positive transition, as opposed to, we know it's coming and then there's abrupt end and there's a sense of dissatisfaction from everybody. So it's about how you get the conditions in place and create the space to have the conversations for those transitions and the other big business challenges around across the team.
Caroline, thank you very much. I wish we had more time because it's a
So
subject
much to say.
yeah, there's a lot to think about. And I know that people will be able to contact you if they want to
Yeah.
have a further conversation with you, and we'll provide your details just after this. So look, it only remains for me to say a very big thank you, and I have found it a fascinating conversation, so thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me, Oliver. It's been brilliant. Cheers.